two things you want to know if you're going to create wealth. And don't be caught up in this catch. Well, money's not everything. Money's not everything. Of course it's not. But there's nothing that will compare with it. It's something you can measure. You can measure it to the penny. That's very important. It's not like your health. You can't measure your health. You say that's more important than money, but you're talking different things. You can go to a doctor, and a doctor can give you a clean bill of health and walk out and drop dead. That's happened to lots of people. So you can't measure that. But money, you can measure it right to the penny. You'll know if you're doing better. Money's not going to make you a better person. Money's going to make you more of what you already are. If you're not a nice person, you'll probably become despicable. If you are a nice person, you're going to become a lot nicer, because money is a magnifier. Money is an instrument that enables you to extend the good you can do far beyond your own presence. When Sandy and I decided that we were going to give money to Cynthia's organization, then we got excited about it. And we just keep upping the ante. But the kids that are getting educated, they're getting clean water, and they're getting nutritious food and proper medical, and they're getting educated, and then they're excited going to school. Thousands of them now. That makes me feel good. I've got a picture in my office that I look at frequently where all these little kids are reading our books and studying our material. Well, there's two things that you have to know if you really want to create wealth. One, you have to know where you are, and the other one, you have to know where you're going. And then you got to get moving. Now, that is so simple. This is so simple, you have to ask, why are so many people stuck? Yeah, they're stuck. They're clearly stuck. They're getting the same results now as they were a year ago. I remember dropping by my uncle and my aunt and uncle's house. They're gone now, God bless them, but I used to drop by there and visit every now and then. They had a whole house full of kids, and he was working overtime every night trying to make enough just to get by. Didn't have a car, had to go all the way across Toronto, big city, on public transportation, worked overtime every night just to earn enough to get by. Lived a very ordinary life. I dropped by one Christmas, and they're rushing around to get credit cards in all the big stores so they could buy the kids Christmas presents. And I remember Don saying, well, never mind, next year will be different. And I looked at him, I said, you want to know something, Don? You're full of crap. Next year's going to be exactly the same as this year because you never change. I said, don't start that stuff on me, Proctor. I said, why don't you change? He knew I changed. I changed like night and day. He knew me when I was losing. Now, they were paid every 2 weeks. They had budgeted to live on this pay. So 3 times a year, he got 3 pays in a month. That third pay was always an extra pay. They decided they were going to come to a seminar. I was doing seminars at the Hyatt in downtown Toronto every Tuesday night for 8 weeks. 2.5 hours a night, 3 hours a night for 8 weeks. I made them pay to come to the seminar. They thanked me right up until their death for making them pay. I knew if they didn't pay, they wouldn't keep coming. But I knew that money meant a lot to them. And I knew that they just couldn't permit themselves just to throw it away. So every Tuesday night they'd come. It marks it for 3 weeks. I had no idea what you were talking about. You're talking about spirit and vibration and all this stuff. I knew nothing about any of that. But then one day you said, I want you to write a list of everything you want. And she said, I couldn't think of anything I wanted. I had not been thinking of what I wanted since I was a young girl. It was always, what's Dawn want? What's the kids want? Never what she wanted. And she said, when I started to write, I couldn't stop. When they died, they had their own business. They were billionaires. They had a beautiful home in Florida, as well as the one in Toronto, and the family still run the business.
You see, the truth is, you can earn as much every month as you're presently earning in a year. We can show you how to turn your annual income into a monthly income. Now, that may sound like a gross exaggeration, but it is really not. It's the way it happens. There are only 3 strategies for earning money. Just 3 strategies. But let's start with number 1. Number 1 strategy is used by 96% of the population, and it won't work. It never has worked. This is where you trade your time for money. You see, this strategy has an inherent problem. It's called saturation. You run out of time. I don't care how effective you are. I don't care how much you earn an hour. You're going to run out of time. You're trading your time for money. It doesn't work. It does not work. Number 2 is an excellent strategy, but it's only used by 3% of the population. Number 2 is where you invest money to earn money. Now, people in the number 1 strategy, they hear about this, and so they squirrel a little bit of what they're earning away and they invest it, but they don't understand how to invest it, and they usually lose it. If you're going to invest money, you really got to know what you're doing, or go to somebody that has proved that they know what they're doing. Number 3 is where you invest money to earn money. Now, the first 2 strategies are not the one you want to focus on. Here's the one you want to focus on, number 3. It's only used by approximately 1 person out of 100. This is where this group earns almost all the money. 96% of all the money that's earned goes to a very small select group of people. And I'm going to tell you something. I used to think they were really smart. Some of them aren't very smart. I was earning over $1 million a year, and I started to analyze what the heck was I doing? How was I doing it? I had stumbled on M3. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing it. I had been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you got to be really smart. I knew I wasn't that smart, but I was earning a fair amount of money. M3 is used by 1% of the population, but they earn 96% of all the money. These people multiply their time by setting up multiple sources of income. Now, that's the strategy. How do you set up multiple sources of income? Well, some people get that mixed up with multiple jobs. That's not multiple jobs. It's multiple sources of income. The truth is, you can set up sources of income where you're earning money while you're sleeping. And it's never been easier than it is today. With the internet and with the way we're working, man, you can make it happen. So here we are back again. What we want to do is show you how to turn your annual income into a monthly income. Now pay attention, because this is super important. It's very, very important. This can be accomplished by having multiple sources of income. You check back in history, you're going to find all wealthy people have always had multiple sources of income. They didn't have one, they had all kinds of different sources of income. I'm not quite sure how many I've got. I don't even look after them. I have somebody else look after them. Sandy's got a team of people, my business partner, that looks after our sources of income. Now keep staying here. Listen to what we're saying. Our world is changing. Make no mistake about it. You know, Alvin Toffler wrote a book way back around 1970 called Future Shock, and he talked about the changes that were coming. Well, I was working with Earl Nightingale and Lloyd Conant in 1970, and that was a very popular book around the Nightingale Conant Corporation. We were all studying it, and we were laughing at some of the predictions. We'll say this could never possibly happen. Well, move ahead to 40 or 50 years, Toffler fell short. He didn't predict it big enough. Now, he just passed away here a while ago, but he said something before he died that maybe you should remember. He said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be the people who cannot read and write. They're going to be the people who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Most of what we've learned up to this point, we're going to have to unlearn, and then we're going to have to learn some new rules. Now, I am unlearning and learning all the time. And I'll tell you something I've learned. Our world is changing. It is not getting bigger. The world is getting smaller. It is shrinking. And here's something else. This is very important. You can have business all over the world through multiple sources of income. Here's the question you want to ask. How much do you want? How much do you want? Because you can set up sources of income all over the place. Now, I do have multiple sources of income. Our company's structured that way. We train consultants in our business to teach what we teach. They have multiple sources of income. If I were starting over today, I would probably go into network marketing because it is probably the easiest way to set up multiple sources of income. Now, the fact is that most people that go into it never earn any money is another thing. They're just not working with the right people. Study the real heavy hitters. They all have multiple sources of income and they have money coming at them from all over the world. It's a beautiful thing to understand. Doesn't matter where you live, you can be setting up sources of income all over the globe. You can just keep setting them up. You like the idea, don't you? Well, I'm going to tell you something. You are capable of doing this. We teach this in our programs. Now, we don't only teach this way. There's all kinds of ways. And you'll say, well, are all the sources of income that you have the same size? No. Some are bigger, some are small. But they all have one thing in common. Although they're big or small, they all flow in to your bank. That's right. When you have a source of income, it comes into your bank. And it just keeps adding up and up and up. Now, just keep watching. It just keeps coming. And it comes into your bank, big and small. It's a beautiful thing to know. How much do you want to earn?